Okay. Um, at this point, every time I should make videos, I should first of all be thankful to God. I know that uh, a lot of us target individuals become very spiritual and uh, religious, or maybe just believe in God more. And I think it's because obviously we go through some terrible things, but at the same time we find ourselves feeling dignified in certain ways. And what we experience, as horrible as it is, gives us like some kind of like I said, dignity. Um, the way we are being used and trained to, like the way they make us just almost illogical is just something else. But what makes us very dignified is how we find us lucky that we didn't have to live the life that these people do live, because we're validated by reality. In every sign you can imagine, it's like somehow you're being told that listen to who these people are. You see people turning to damn near childlike minded people for the purpose of gaslighting you. You hear them using this persona they've tried to create, whispering, try to create this like gimmicky ways of trying to sound hypnotic, because what's happening to you is you're a target individual. What is a target individual? We're a human subject, right? The government is using human subject to implement and develop this technology that is extremely sophisticated, right? And the sophistication goes as far as technology that has the ability to manipulate your thoughts and do things to your body and your organs. For example, right now, I'm having extreme issues with digestion issue. They're doing things to my organs, my digestion organs, my gastro organs, and they keep talking about how they fuse things together, meaning it's gonna be hard for me to digest. Which I feel like indigestion is going strong, like it's happening to my stomach. Um, but that's technology that you gotta understand comes from like this high level DoD entities, and we human subjects are target individual that are just those subjects that they implement this technology onto to develop this technology. But it goes as far as the manipulation of thoughts, right? This program is really implementing technology that can control a human in so many ways, including psychologically, mentally, and thoughts and perceptions. Everything's changed. And they utilize perps who are civilians, right? Those people are just contracted. You hear that the DoD has contracted millions of contractors, civilian contractors, and some of that is for the weapon development. And you have people who I'm telling you are basically children at some point. They sound like children, or if they're not children, they have to act certain ways that can be comparable to a child. The way they interact with you is so gimmicky, because what they're trying to do is to try to make you acceptive of a lot of manipulation that you experience today. They're basically in a program where these personas are implanted into you, and the way they try to get you to accept this persona is a bunch of manipulations, and some of them is nonsensical. For me, it's been a lot of pedophilia type of torture. And they do these things where they can give you some stimulations and reaction every time you look at children. It's so disturbing. And it's foul. It's just nasty. And these perps who are just to trash the government uses, their job is to like brainwash, not even brainwash, you try to make you believe that this is you, and make you accept these things. And they feel very empowered because those people, these perps, these civilians, in their own life, who knows what's going on, right? They can have everything going wrong in their life, but once you involve in this program, the empowerment of what you must feel when, as human subject target individuals, our whole life become a just a pure manipulation, orchestrations of manipulation to probably when you die, right? So they can see what's going to happen to us. They orchestrate what's going to happen to us, and they're involved in that, feeling almost like gods when they're just nobodies, truly actually bottom feeders, right? And so I'm just thankful that I never fell for this, Because what's happening for them now, they try to, because they're as compromised as they are, they involve in programs that does even horrible things to children. Because the human subject consists of all kinds of human subject. The program is obviously about developing a technology, a weapon. And like any weapon, any machine learning technology, you need samples of different sorts. It's machine learning, right? Machine learning is having multiple samples so they can adjust to that samples, to all the different samples. And so is if the goal is to be able to efficiently manipulate human beings of all sorts, they gonna have to have people of all ages, all genders, all cultures. And so they try to they do the same, they have as many human subjects as they can, from babies to grandmothers to all the races, all the culture, and they have implemented a lot of the same tactics and see how they need to be adjusted. And I understand that. Then this psyop of this perps has tried to get you to believe anything but what this is about. Right? They try to make you believe this is their money. Like it's the way they have to dumb themselves down, because with gaslighting and the psyops, you have to be consistent with the manipulations. You have to be consistent with the storylines. As bullshit as it is, you have to be consistently saying this BS over and over. That's part of a psyop. The psyop has to be non-stop. Try to prove this bullshit, this BS. And so I'm dealing with that, and I see how low some people have to go. The things they do to your brain and to your memories, and how they change your memories and manipulate memories and give different perceptions of memories, is crazy. For example, 2 seconds ago, I'm scrolling down, and there's this thing about like you're supposed to figure out whose kid is with which parents, right? It's like a game, and there's a kid in the thumbnail, and they do the stimulations, and then they bring me back to a time when they did the same thing, but I was walking to the gym or coming back to the gym, and some kid was looking at me, and I looked at the kid, and they forced me to get stimulation. It was disgusting. And they tried to make me believe, no, that was before we did the manipulation things. Like, no. And they do things like that all the time. And then at some point, I'm going on like dating apps, right? And in the dating apps, there's a lot of people of all races, but there's mostly like white people, right? And they then make me think of like this back in, I don't know how long ago, maybe I was in college around that time, there was this like person making fun of how like white, girls, like from late teen to early 20s, so to something like that, had the same pose, and they were all making fun of that. And they just, and that moment was funny to me because it was kind of a bit of a truth in the way that he was making fun of them. But now they try to like give me like, oh, how old were you when you're looking at that? Did you feel? It's just stupidity. And then you hear a perp who's contracted, who's like, oh, they're gonna say that. And they interact with me via this V2K. It's like, they're gonna say that. Yeah, the white girls. And you gotta understand, this is a grown, I don't know if it's a grown, that's a person who's conscious, who has to look at herself every day, or himself. And they start whispering like that. I'm like, when you hear yourself doing these things, do you feel like a little bit like, I don't know, like, they don't feel embarrassed a little bit? Because I would feel extremely embarrassed. Like, unless I'm like a child, or like, even if I'm a child and I grow up, it's like, oh my God, I had to like be, yeah, they're gonna see that. It's just humiliating. But they have to stoop to levels like that. And it makes sense that they will utilize childlike individuals to do these things while doing really horrible things to people. It's like, not only you do things that are embarrassing, but then you do things that that it's just like in every way that they're so horrible and foul in a program that does things that are so horrible and foul to even babies. It's just like so much, like it's overwhelming foulness that you just know that this thing's coming back to you. For me, the cyber has also been like trying to present themselves as this like women who are just like this fierce group of like progressive or just vengeful people. And in every step of the way, it's been validated that these people are anything but that. The program itself does horrible things to a lot of women, children, babies, little girls, little boys, women, grandmothers of all sorts. So the most vulnerable. The people who made this program have been are the most conservative people you can imagine in this country. The amount they are mega donors of like the most conservative legislations you can imagine, the most conservative things you can imagine, they've donated. Matter of fact, there was this abortion right thing I keep talking about. They were listen. A lot of donors donate a lot of money, but their donation was so large, and they were open about it that they called out for the amount that which surpassed any single donor for that specific purpose. Obviously, it's more than that because they also donate for like a group of people multiple times, but they are called out for even that. That today, when I'm hearing news about this woman in Texas, that she has a child that is obviously can be dangerous to her to give birth, that an abortion is necessary for her. Not because she doesn't want to have the child, because the child itself, the fetus, has a condition that is going to come out already dead and could even be dangerous to her health. And the hospital itself is recommending that she gets an abortion, but they were told that if you do an abortion, the state of Texas will come after this hospital. The people who put me in this program helped significantly to have this happen, right? But you see these losers trying to find ways to counter that. I was talking to somebody, and listen, target individual, we have to accept that we're gonna have to be lonely, because it's basically, that's when you also think that this is biblical in certain ways. This program tries to make sure that everybody who's around you, everybody who, even your family, can be involved in these things. And you hear that a lot, that even family members can be involved in that. And so your partners, especially if they're people who you met after you're targeting, most likely are perps, right? They participate. But, I was with somebody, she was a perp. Throughout the whole time I talked about it, she was a perp. But I was into the concept of who she was, not who she actually is. I enjoyed just imagining myself being, not even imagining, I just enjoyed the concept of being with somebody like that, not who she actually is. I could see how much of a delusionist she was. She actually made me feel better because I could see through her how these perps can be thinking. I could see how she enjoyed feeling empowered. Maybe in her life, there's things that she can control, a lot of things that she can control, as much as she tries to be organized and planning for things. But her life is things that are going to come in her life that she won't know. But when she was with me, I can see how she felt empowered. And I was like, this is what I was saying. And I could see how delusional she was when she was coming up with ways to kind of counter the reality of what was right here in front of me. But I also enjoy how, if I was not a target individual, and if she was not a perp, how me being with somebody like that in a different fashion, what kind of person I would have been with her, and what kind of couple we would have been. Now, obviously, I'm glad that it ended, even though I'm not the one who made that happen. I was kind of making, because it was hard for me to let go, but I made myself. I did things to kind of point out that I think this should end, but I couldn't let that go because that moment with being with somebody felt kind of special at the same time, but you know that was wrong to be with somebody like that because this person is doing horrible things to you, and I didn't want to be aggressive. I didn't want to be, So once you did that, it kind of felt a little, it stinked a little bit because I'm gonna be. But I remember it's like, listen, that's what I wanted at the same time. Um, and today is the first day where this is officially over, and it was never a thing in the first place because in my mind I always saw it for what it was, but it was more like some kind of a distraction at some point because sometimes we had regular conversation, and because I'm so like by myself, um, having this, it just kind of validated me because when I was interacting with her, as much as they're doing all the different nasty manipulation, it just brought me back to just understanding that I was like, I get it. This is what this is about. And isolation is helpful for them because it breaks out reality. You lose touch of reality, and it's easy to manipulate somebody when this person is completely isolated because you can create a fantasy, and because the isolation, this person can really get lost in this bullshit and fantasy that they created. And in my head, the way they just just coming up with these BS stories, it's just, and the way they change, and you hear this, and they utilize these neighbors who are very, for me, my neighbors are the perps neighbors are like childlike people, so they make you also think in like that. You become, as your brain is just pushed to a level of kind of retardation, meaning that you start thinking like these childlike individuals who are talking to you because that's all you hear. So you're being influenced by childlike individuals, like like even when they talk, you just slowly. And so, for us, target individual, we have to remember: do not identify with this manipulation. That is their job. We are just human subject, and there's also a purpose why they use childlike people. I'm not the first one to say that. Some people say like they sound like middle schooler. It's because they want you to start thinking like in a spectrum like way. And I realized when things become more stupid, like they send these childlike individuals to get you to accept these things. And they want you to make you to accept everything. And sometimes they say things like, you're gonna lose. It's like, and you hear these people talking, and you're like, they obviously know that I know that this is a governmental entity. There's no winning for a civilian who can do nothing about the massive government utilizing your being as a human subject for the development. Like, you understand but these people in their mind have almost created a fantasy where they are like winners. Like, oh my gosh, you see, watch, I'm gonna win. So, but it's like nobody cannot not win, meaning that we are just human subjects against governmental entities. It's like, how can I compare it to? It's like, like a guinea pig in a lab, or guinea pig wherever they do experimentation, and you look at the guinea pig, it's like, this guinea pig's gonna lose, right? And that's the way they sound. This is the way they talk to me via V2K. So me, I have the gangs talking, which at this point is almost, I don't know if it needed. It's basically obsolete at this point because I deal with the synthetic telepathy and the V2K. Those, as V2K is when they can interact with you directly via you, like you can hear people interacting with you, and this is actually old technology, and it sounds like it's people next door. But it could be like people from different buildings interacting with you. And that's what you've heard a lot of target individuals say, is like I can hear people addressing me, interacting. It sounds like schizophrenia, but it's not. It's actually a technology that's been around for a long time. And they make it clear that, you're not going crazy. We're actually interacting with you. And then you find out that, this is like old technology. And you hear people saying the exact same, because initially they have the same things. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's what exactly I heard. It is extremely scary and surreal that the things they do is so systematically. And so you understand that, oh wow, we are just human subject. These people are interacting with me via this technology. And not only that, I got what you call synthetic telepathy, where your brain signals are connected to some kind of device that can then overlay any thoughts, any perception, and control you completely. And do things that are just science fiction, basically. Memory manipulated and all that. On top of what they do to the body, can do like remote surgery to your body, and there's no cuts, no, like I don't, nobody, like there's no scar, like, but I can feel my organs, things happen to them. I vomited one day, and I was vomiting black stuff, and found out it's just what you call a coffee ground, which is basically blood. So things have been done to my gastro organs that caused me to do that. Now, I know that this technology is not coming from some rogue feminist group. I know it's obviously governmental, and I know that this is a psyop, and I know the people who put me in this program are far from any rogue feminist group, right? But the psyop of what they try to create is try to make you believe this fantasy, because once you discover the reality of what this is about, you hear the testimonies, and they're all the same. They're all the same in so many ways. And so you hear people talking about horrible things that even happen to their babies, their kids. There's sexual torture, all kind of horrible things. But somehow, these people doing that to you want you to like forget about the reality of what they're involved in, and just accept these ways of being manipulated. It's just pathetic. It's just so pathetic. And then the way they try to make you accept these fantasies of this persona. And then the humiliation of reality, because, like I said, this is not some rogue group of criminals or whatever. This is obviously not that. It's obviously some kind of mass government involving this. And this have the fingerprint of the CIA, obviously the resources of the DOD, and the technology of DARPA. Those three entities and multiple other entities in these agencies, in these DOD agencies, have had patterns that shows and indicate there's a problem with pedophilia. I mean, it's just surreal. It's almost biblical, because it seems like every decade there's something that comes out about the issues in these agencies with pedophilia. That comes over and over and over. That shows that there's been an issue for a while, that those entities have a bunch of pedophiles in these agencies for a long time, and it keeps coming back over and over and over. In 2007, Operation Flicker, they say there's about 5,000 people working in the Pentagon that were downloading child porn. 2016, the Danielle Payne, a director of the DSS, and I'm saying that they tried to manipulate me, was shocked by the amount of child porn he was seeing when he was looking at and examining the computers of these employees on his, like, that's his job. That was his agency, his department was just to make sure that the assets, the all the assets were secured. DSS stands for Defense Security Services. When he started examining the computers of the employees, the contracted individuals, man, he was shocked by the amount of child porn he was seeing. In 2021, there's an article from BuzzFeed that actually was requested 10 years ago. Finally, they provide them the information after 10 years of waiting. Then they come out with, there was like CIA agent doing things to 2-year-old, 6-year-old, another problem, child porn, DARPA. It was just non-stop, like back to back. And they, the information comes late because they request them and they wait for 10 years. So for today, what they need to do, if they do the same thing, they probably have to wait another 10 years. But one thing is for sure, is the clear pattern that there is a problem with pedophilia in these agencies. And then you have this bottom feeder saying, "No, what we're doing, well, we went through your memories and everything, and what we do is like we realize that you felt like that at some point in your childhood, and we know what we're doing. We're mapping it. We're making you feel the way you felt at some point when you were like just retardations." When you just read there, literally, somebody asking why are they letting so many pedophiles in these agencies, and you hear the testimonials that are so systematic. They say almost all target individuals are forced to see child porn in their mind. And then you hear another woman's like, they make me smell baby powder. And then they do this pedophilia type of torture. And it's ongoing. And you hear these people who are rewiring your brain in every way it's possible to force you to get stimulations, changing even your memories in your childhood to try to make you accept what you're experiencing today. In every way you've been validated that there's pedophilia type of tormenting. There is obvious manipulation of thoughts. There's obvious manipulation of perceptions, of memories, libido manipulations, all of that. Every levels have been validated. So for me, what they try to do, or what they've done, is try to find wherever they can find something and use that against you. For me, they brought like something ideas when I was a kid, like an impulsive moment of me as a kid in middle school, just turned 14 years old, or about to. It's like, no, remember what you did, that's what we did, we mapped it. Try to even exaggerate that. Well, they're in a program that literally sexually tortured children. Obviously for the purpose of this developing of a weapon. And so you hear these people trying to find ways to counter this. Not only you find out these agencies are filled with pedophiles, but this program that these people are involved in, this same program is literally torturing infants, 3-week-old, sexually torturing 4- and 5-year-old Down syndrome children, sexually torture. Suffocating 7-year-old kids, doing terrible shit to children. And then you have people who try to disorient you, but try to diverge with what I'm saying right now. For example, somebody comes in and is like, "Oh, you're going to be starving to death." The reason why they say that is because I'm talking about how they torture children. It is a constant battle to stop me from seeing them for what they are, what they're truly part of, the horribleness. They sold their soul to pedophiles, literally. They sold their soul, even their children's soul, to pedophiles. As I was speaking right now, I could hear some footstep of a child running. Immediately what they do is they start playing with my libido. This technology has the ability to play with your sexual arousals. It's been clearly said. Somebody literally go through the list of the things, target individuals I mentioned, and it's like they can manipulate this technology can manipulate your sexual arousals. It can make the target feel sexual arousals. So I hear the footstep of a child running, they start stimulating me to condition me in these pedophilia ways. Right? And then you hear people who try to agitate you because they want you to feel agitation. But the validation is there. And as much as they've been trying to find ways to annoy you, and the reality just been hitting them over and over, while me, I'm expecting the torture. Right? Some of the way I'm going to be tortured is due to the fact that they've been humiliated by reality. They are going to create a torture of a theater. In their mind, they think if I'm going to be tortured the way I'm going to be tortured, it's going to block out the reality. Right? I think it's a way for them to cope with the reality. They tell me how I'm going to be cut in pieces. They're like, listen, you are doing this because you think it's going to stop the fact that I know you torture children and women. The mass shooting, the largest mass shooting that just happened in October, was somebody who's a target individual, killed 18 people. The testimonials of what they've done to women and the most vulnerable and babies is just insane. Insane torture of children. Insane torture of women. And so what they try to do is try to compensate. But this reality, and black girls going to be insane the way you're going to be tortured. Okay, yes, I'm going to be tortured insanely because you've been humiliated that I know you torture women and children insanely. And you think that is going to counter the reality. And like, no, it's going to be our torture. The way you torture me right now is because you're in a program that torture babies. Because you're in a program that torture women and children of all ages. And even cause mass shooting. You're in this, doing the textbook tactics of torturing me. And because it's been validated that they manipulate people in these pedophilia ways, there's been validation that they've been manipulating people in these pedophilia ways. recorded, literally saying they do the pedophilia type of torture. They think that because somebody's going to torture in a certain way, that means that we proved it. It's been overly proven that they do the pedophilia type of torture. Overly. They truly have to dumb themselves down. They truly have to become, they have to make themselves be on the spectrum. Not only they do the pedophilia type of torture, but the entities contracting them are filled with pedophiles. Humiliating ways. I mean, when you hear somebody literally say, why are they letting so many pedophiles work in these agencies? And then you hear the Boston Globe talking about how, this operation was supposed to this operation was about this website, this child porn website, and guess who they catch? Yes, these pedos. In these agencies. And before they would try to mock me in regard, there's so many, all right? Because I was listening to somebody talking about, so why are they letting so many pedophiles in this agency? I didn't understand the number. And then I read the Boston Globe that calls out in that instant of just this investigation alone that had nothing to do and it was not targeting the DOD or the Pentagon. They caught 5,000 or suspected 5,000 plus individual involved downloading child porn from this website by accident. That was just one random investigation of one child porn website. 5,000 like that. Then this director and the DSS, he's just saying, I'm on the child porn I see. Now you can imagine, the investigation 5,000. His job is just to literally examine computers of people working in these agencies, and he's like, I'm shocked by the amount of child porn I see. I'm shocked. And I don't think he's somebody who gets shocked a lot because he's been in counterintelligence for a long time. So I'm sure he's seen a lot of terrible things. But him saying, the amount of child porn I see, I'm shocked by the amount. It's an unbelievable amount. It's a lot. And you know what they say? To counter that? Oh, we're going to implant child porn, you see? We dared. So for me, as a target individual, I gotta always be thankful. And while I can speak, because they are doing things to my vocal cords, they are doing things to my organs, I can see my throat, even swallowing is becoming harder, right? I can see even the veins in my throat and everything is just, I can see the physical change. So me speaking now is a way to kind of speak while I cannot, right? While these people are going to go through the repetitions and say whatever they need to do in order to counter the reality that I know what I already know about the torture of children. Matter of fact, somebody just say he abused because they try to talk about me as a child and try to exaggerate what I did as a child, while these people in the program that are literally sexually torturing children as young as 4 or 5 years old. Suffocating kids because they do things with lungs, and even my lungs, this can restrict them. They damage my lungs. Can you imagine doing that to a 7-year-old and being in a program that does that? That's the things they do. They are severely torturing children. So to all my target individuals, stay strong. Death is not going to be unique to us. In whatever sufferance way we're going to go, even that current day, understand it feels very biblical. I don't know if I'm not trying to make anybody religious or spiritual, but when you're in this program, you cannot help but feel that way because it's just so overwhelming validations and reality checks that these people want to counter. All these testimonials that show how disturbing these people are while they try to vilify you. The reality of these entities running this program. When I was saying they were selling the soul to pedophiles, I was not too far off. So to all my target individual, stay strong.